Thank you so much, Sanjeev, and thank you, Jose, for joining us today. Sanjeev, you were just saying that you've come from Sion Hospital. What a brilliant, what an extraordinary work both of you are doing in providing food at this critical juncture to frontline workers and hospital staff. We are looking at the massive stress our medical and frontline workers are facing right now, and you're making sure that they get food. Tell us what you're doing, what is happening.
Okay, so essentially it is, we know that there are people who need food, because when we started this last year, it was lockdown. So nobody was getting any food, forget doctors, nobody was. So at that time, we felt that it is important. We did that, we did it in a few cities. But a few weeks ago, this was something when Jose's team reached out and he says, we want to support work in India. I said, fantastic. And we talked about a few initiatives that could be done together. And they had very successfully fed hospital staff and doctors and everything in US. So that this fits in perfectly. So we just started one hospital at a time, and we thought, okay, maybe 1,000 meals will do. And suddenly we realized that, okay, there's much more that is needed, can be done. And what is great is that today we are doing close to about 23,000 now, Tim? Yeah, 23,000 meals a day, and close to over about 30 hospitals in India, about 10 cities. And it's been fantastic. It's something which I think if it was not for World Central Kitchen, their thinking, their speed of action and their support, and of course financial support also would not have been possible. So very rewarding. It's something which and so much of learning, because in India, see, we also do, but there is so much learning. And what I like is that he loves to say this. So he founded this. He says, but this is not José Andrés Foundation. It's for everybody. It's World Central Kitchen, which is and I see that. I see that spirit, and it's fantastic to see that, and the involvement. It's not just a tick in the box that okay, kar diya, ho gaya. It's not like that. It's done. The whole team is involved. It's done with the heart. It's for me personally, it is very, very enriching and rewarding, and I can continue to thank Jose and the entire team. Thank you, Jose.
I think this is the realization that, especially a pandemic like this, is not something like one hospital can do alone. It's not something a city. It's not something a country. It's something like we need to realize that has to happen, understanding that we need all to work together. And that a virus like this, we see that has moments, that has sequences, because the seasons are not the same in every country, in every continent. The people, the way the virus has been moving from place to place. And that when some parts of the world did well, others began doing worse, and then everything changed. And at the end, you realize that it's very important, empathy and cooperation, to understand that you may need oxygen here, and 3 months later, you need it somewhere else. That you need learning about how to handle COVID-19 in one hospital, and they pass that know-how to another country. With food was not any different. I was very proud of the team of World Central Kitchen. Obviously, we are only feeding, we're a drop in the bucket. Yeah, it's amazing people and amazing organizations around the world feeding every day, and especially during this pandemic, which has been more difficult. But I'm very proud of World Central Kitchen. We've been there when almost nobody was there. Obviously, not in every part of the world. I dreamed that one day World Central Kitchen could be in every part of the world. It seems that we've been growing a lot. In America, one moment we were in 48 states. At one moment we were doing hundreds of hospitals. We were doing elderly homes. And we kept moving as the pandemic was shutting down feeding operations. When the first cruise ship arrived to Japan, the men and women of World Central Kitchen were in Yokohama feeding the men and women in that cruise ship. We got the partnership with Chef Nobu and many other people in Japan. When then Auckland was happening the same, second cruise ship with COVID cases, we were waiting on the port for that cruise ship to arrive and feeding them. And we always partner because partnerships, if there's no ego involved, they're a beautiful thing. It's what you see here. Friendship, taking care of the people, taking care of the problem. So World Central Kitchen, we've been learning, like Chef Sanjeev has been learning when he's been doing this at the beginning of the pandemic in India. And we all keep being smart, right? And then you realize the power of collaboration in key moments, and everybody brings some know-how of how to handle COVID. Others know-how of the place you are helping, and knowing the people and the connections, and everything is important. So for us being in India was use the sequence of the learning ship of the last year and a half. We've been not only feeding in COVID, even in my country of Spain, which I never imagined World Central Kitchen will have to operate. We opened 17 kitchens in Spain because Spain really was hit very hard, and there's no way I couldn't be there. But at the same time, the men and women of World Central Kitchen, we were in Guatemala, in Honduras, in Colombia, in Venezuela. Right now, they are just finishing operations in San Vincent with the volcano exploded in the Caribbean. Beirut in Lebanon, when the explosion, we were there. Indonesia with earthquakes, you name it. So we've been responding to the pandemic and the emergency in the middle of the pandemic. India came, we saw the news, the spike was going up. And our only thing was, okay, we are doing better in America. Things are already been calming for many weeks. There's no way we're going to be sitting at home. Let's be there. Let's call our friends who know. This was very fast and very quick. And that's why here we came, just to be next to Sanjeev, to be next to the Indian people. And I know it's a drop in the bucket, but visiting already some hospitals with Sanjeev, like I've been visiting, and meeting the doctors and the nurses and the teams, some of them students, many of them very young, that they've been working day in and day out, that they feel for the life of every person. It's actually very beautiful to see. My mom and my dad were nurses. The least we could do is be here next to you, and I wish we could do even more. But we are an emergency operation. This is an emergency. The best place to be in the emergency are the hospitals. Let's take care of the men and women that are trying to save every life. And maybe a drop in the bucket, but it's an important one because it creates all these ripple effects that sends a good message of we're together, we're with you. Let's keep fighting a little bit harder because we're going to beat this virus. And food, Sanjeev and I, we keep saying food is love, food is peace, longer tables, a plate of food is use hope and dreaming of a better tomorrow.
What you're doing is very, very missionary, very powerful, and it means so much. I want to ask both of you, what are some of the things that you're observing working with the frontline workers, and also in terms of safety and security, because you're providing food to them. So how are you taking care of that?
Yeah, I think that's important, right from how the stuff is procured, how everything is sourced, sourcing of raw material, how it is cooked, the kitchen's hygiene, safety of people, all of that. And then when it is distributed, how it is distributed, the trucks it's distributed in. So our staff that goes and distribute that stuff, they are in full PPE kits when they give that food at the hospital. So safety is paramount. That's kept in mind, because it's not just safety of the doctors and nurses, it's the staff that's working, who's producing and distributing. That's critical to us. And that's something that we've been very, very particular. And I can tell you that that's something, while they come from America, which is known for all of this, but I can tell you, we would have followed probably all international practices when we were, because this is food, and that's my training. I understand it. So, but still, no matter what you do, there's so much that I learned today. What you were talking to Dean in Sion Hospital, that what you did last year, all the things. So there's a constant learning, but safety would not be compromised. But that does not stop us from helping. Right? It's something. So all my friends and also, I got COVID few months ago, but my antibodies are very low. So doctors have said that I have to take vaccine, right? And but I cannot get vaccine because there is you need, now government has said 84 days and things like that. Says, oh no, you cannot go to the hospital, you cannot go and do this. I said, I'm taking precautions. I double mask yesterday. I also had a shield. I'm doing all of that. I think we will take and keep safety right at the forefront, but that will not be that we will sit at home. That's not something. And I can tell you, that's one other learning that I have from Jose and the team. So when they said their intent to come to India, anybody who's coming to India at that time was, don't come to India. The advisory is, don't come to India. So no, we are coming. I say, are you serious? Are you coming? And we've been saying, no, they are just saying, I know they'll wait. But before you know, and we were discussing that maybe 2 weeks from now they'll come, and I get one message that, oh, we are arriving tomorrow evening. I said, whoops, okay. Yeah, so that's them.
But this only tells you how it's important to understand that the world is not so big as we think, and it's smaller. And we need to say that we are all together on this fight. When I said I was coming to India, even Indian friends in the States, Jose, careful. What's happening in India is very bad. And they began looking at me at the mirror, and I'm like, I'm vaccinated already. The men and women of World Central Kitchen, we've been in, 12, 14, 16 countries. Myself, I think I've been in 11 countries. We're talking about the beginning of the pandemic, okay? 11 countries. I didn't got COVID. I got vaccinated. But I remember when Italy was happening, obviously when China was happening, then when Italy, then Spain, and I'm like, well, this is just the virus that continues. Now it's the turn of India. It's been the turn of many countries and many cities. And we've seen it before. I've seen it before. So knowledge is important. The press does very important job to say what's happening in India, even with the new virus variant. Okay, it's part of the sequence of beating this virus. And the more we know about it, better. Knowledge is key to success. Most important thing for me, as Chef Sanjeev has said, we have experience in feeding people in cholera. For me, the most important was always keeping the people safe. Our people, our teams, our volunteers, and the people we're feeding. Obviously, cholera is a very different issue, because if you have clean water and you do things cleaning, cholera goes away on its own. But this virus we know is much more different. At the very beginning, we've been told things that then they are not true. Everybody was washing bags and fruits and vegetables. You have to clean fruits and vegetables, but not the bags that came in and the flour. And then we find out a year later that actually this was not necessary. Like, really? At the end of the day, for me, it was very important that we kept our teams safe, but also to give example. So we created a health protocol that all of you are welcome to go to the World Central Kitchen website, and you will see what we developed when the health professionals now were not giving us any guidance. Cooks like us, we came up with the plan. Nobody was helping us to understand. Even I remember when I did with Dr. Fauci at Town Hall, where thousands of chefs and restaurant people joined, because I was trying to get from him comfort on him telling us what he thought was the right things to do. as the biggest expert he is. And I think overall he's done a very good job guiding America, and many people around the world are watching. But for me, for Nate Mook, it was very important that we kept our team safe. And I think we did a very good job overall. The reason I didn't got COVID and many members of Wilson Kitchen, after going to so many places, so many hospitals, I remember going to so many hospitals at the beginning, is because we did things simple. We were masked. We wash our hands continuously. We tried to keep the distance. I didn't go to any restaurants, obviously. They were shut down. If I brought people home, we'll be only no more than 2, and we will do it outside. But I was lucky. I was able to do this. What happened with the poorer people? What happened with people that don't have the opportunity to have distance? What happened with the people that live in homes with 8 or 10 people in one room? So everything we say and everything needs to be understanding that not everybody is as lucky, maybe as me, as Chef Sanjeev, that we have bigger homes and more space. And this is the issue of this pandemic. Why are we in India again? Because more than anything, we need to be next to the voiceless and next to the poorest people. And it's not India. In America, we have people that are poor. In Spain, we have people that are poor. We have poor in every single country in the world. We have voiceless in every single country in the world. Part of the work we are doing is really be next to those people, that they cannot be forgotten, because success is not like we will do well. Success is that we all together will move away from this pandemic stronger, learning the lessons, and hopefully, I hope God will not allow it, but if another pandemic comes, we will all together learn better how, all working as one, we can have a bigger chance of beating the pandemic, not losing as many people as this one, and getting back to business as quick as possible.
When it comes to chefs, they are in a way magicians and artists, and they experiment with food, and it's all about. And then, when you think of chefs, then you think of people in the best of 5 stars, or, like in the best of places, and dealing with the best of things, like way beyond, people way beyond. And today, if I have to say, then you're both working as frontline workers yourselves, as on a mission, as missionaries, as entrepreneurs, right down with the people.
My mom was a nurse. My father, as I told you, we are who we are because a lot of people influence who we are. It's a camera, right?
Yes.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong camera. All of us, we had moments in our life past. From the moment our mother fed us for the first time. If you think about it, the first sign of love we receive is a mother feeding us. And we're unconscious. But this is something like gets very deep inside all of us. Our DNA gets that love. That's why we all love, and especially cultures like the Indian culture, Spanish culture, America in Thanksgiving, the longer tables, shorter walls, sharing food. We don't remember because we were unconscious. But this is this moment that we are trying to pass love through that food that we receive. Why I do that? Because my mother did this for me. My father cooking at home, that my father will love to help in the kitchen, and he will have an amazing display of different specialties. But then many people that kept obviously influencing me. When I read John Steinbeck, the American first novel I wrote in English, I read in English, that I understood that was inequality in the world. Some of his novels. And then I was able to see this in first person when I was in the Spanish Navy. It's very funny that I have, not too far away from here, the Indian Navy. Every time I see the Navy, I get happy because of any country, because for me it was a way I saw the world. I went to Africa, I went to Latin America. the Caribbean. And I saw that there was bigger inequality than the one I was used to. I came to America. 1993, I met this man called Robert Egger, and a fascinating man, a food fighter. In many ways, like a modern Muhammad Gandhi, in the way of, he thought that food was peace and food was opportunity. And he thought that everybody was talking about food waste and everybody was having the wrong conversation, because what was really important is that we were wasting people's lives. People's waste. We cannot waste people. And no wasting food was a great way, a gateway to give opportunity to people. So I joined him and the program he had in DC. And he told me that philanthropy and charity seems is about the redemption of the giver, when charity and philanthropy must be about the liberation of the receiver. It's okay to feel good about you doing something, giving money, volunteering. It's okay. Nobody should feel guilty. But we must do better in the 21st century. Why? Because problems keep happening. They don't go away. We say we're going to end hunger in the world 50 years ago, but still is hunger. So we must do things different. We must write new recipes. And we must liberate the receiver, not just do it because we feel good. And we all clap when we're in a meeting. We're fighting hunger. Well, I'm tired of fighting hunger. I want to end hunger. Obviously here, why I'm doing it? Because I don't want to be successful in a place, in a community that others are not. We cannot just live thinking like being human means is not being conscious of what's happening around you. It's very hard for me to be in a car in India or in any country in the world and see children knocking on the door. And even common wisdom tells you sometimes, don't give them anything, because if not, you are helping spread the thing like they will always ask for. I'm like, I get it, but this is very smart BS. I want to give the children something because I don't really know if they're hungry or not. And this is a very hard one. And I don't want to go through the world with that feeling, because if it was for me, I would not have $1 left in the bank, not like I have a ton. Because if I have it on the bank and it's hungry children, what the heck, I have the money in the bank. And this will be a good way to show empathy with boots on the ground and maybe ending hunger this way. So why I'm doing what I'm doing? Because I have 3 daughters that if I'm a selfish father, I believe the best I can do for them is not putting them behind a wall, because that wall one day will come down if it's hungry people behind that wall. If I want to protect my daughters being selfish, the best I can do is bringing down that wall, building longer tables. And the best way I'm going to protect my daughters is by trying to protect those other daughters of other men and women that maybe they were not as lucky as me, that I can provide for them. And life should not be about a lottery. Life should be about opportunity for all. And why I'm doing this, because I don't want to have those children. It's not about my feelings anymore, but it's about the feelings of the people that really are suffering. So I have a job and I have to pay bills, but if it was for me, I would be all day in the streets of the world, learning, listening. So in the next 50 years, we can have a real dialogue about how to give opportunity to people who never had opportunity. And we must do better. We need to stop giving speeches, like I've been giving you this one now for 10 minutes, and everybody clapping in the United Nations and in the big conferences that claim big things. And we must be more with the boots on the ground next to the people that need us the most. Did you ever seen a hungry person giving a speech in a hunger conference? No. Why we don't listen to the hungry? Why we don't listen to those children in every city around the world, in the poor neighborhoods, that maybe they are the ones that should be telling us what are we missing and what they really need from us. So it's not anymore about the redemption of the giver, but the liberation and the opportunity given to every one of those children. That's the reason and do it.
Like Jose says, we are who we are. I think, and it's a combination of many things. You grow up to be who you are, and the influences that you have from your family, your friends, your neighbors, and your school, your colleges. You see things, the experiences that you have. That's what makes you who you are, and it's something that you keep on breathing a few things, but not always you get the opportunity to do these things. So while I was growing up, I always understood that learning is very important, and sharing of that learning is very, very important. Till I started doing a TV shows, till I started to teach through that show. I remember my father, he called me one night and he said, "You don't know what you're doing." He says, "This is real emancipation of Indian women." He says, "Indian women have always been oppressed, and you are giving them real power of cooking through your food, and you are teaching them." He says, "People will not understand this, but maybe 50 years, 100 years from now, this is historic what you're doing. This is real emancipation, because they have always been cooking. But now the celebration of cooking is something that they can feel, and you are empowering them." And I could not sleep that night that, oh my God, is it what I'm doing? Is it that important? I had never planned it to be that like that. This is something that I was doing. And then I realized that what you try to do is, as you rightly said, that you've always been around fancy food, fancy things, great produce, everything. And when you see at real life, and when does that happen? Does it? You always want to do it, but not always. हिंदी में कहते हैं कि ये सारी चीजें भरपेट होती हैं, खाली पेट नहीं. So what I just said, Jose, is that when you are hungry, you may not always have the opportunity to think to give. You always have the luxury of giving, or start thinking like that when your stomach is full. And that is probably what happened. And I realized that I've been involved with Akshay Patra, and I read about them. I understood what they were doing. But when the first time I realized, when I went there, I cooked. And then when I drove that truck to a school. And they didn't know that who's coming. They just knew that food was coming. As that truck entered that school, whole school kids ran towards that truck. And that joy of seeing simple food, they were not all students were that school. They were not studying. There were siblings who were there. And that was probably the only meal that we're getting. And then I realized that the joy of a king or a prince saying that, "Chef, your food is so good," was nothing compared to that smile of the people who were coming to that truck. It is so rewarding. It is something that, oh my God, what was I doing? Was I wasting all my time? But again, ये सारी चीजें खाली पेट नहीं होती, right? And that's what you realize, that this is something that more you can do. And I think I completely in sync with it. It's not about, no matter what. This is something one of my bosses earlier on had taught me. Each person, no matter how poor they are, no matter what profession they are, no matter whether they have 1 rupee or not, all egos are same. It's just that people who have more money think that they have right to play with the egos of others. But if we can learn to respect everyone with that equality, I think the world would be a much better place. And that's what I think I learn more every day. I listen to him, and that's why I say that you speak, because that's a chance that I would get to learn from him, right? And he does not shave, but he's much younger to me. But it's great to learn so much from what he does. And there's limited time that I have, so I would want to learn more and more. And it's something which I would say that maybe what we were, what we are, and what we will become. I hope we become better than what we were, and God gives us more power to do more, not help more. I don't think we are helping. People are helping us. They are empowering us. We want the world to give respect to all in a way that nobody feels that, oh my God, I need food, I need this. It's something which gives a lot of satisfaction, and people like you help us to reach more people. So thank you. And I want to say one thing, Shradha. With these times of masking, people cannot make out the real smile. And I tell people that smile with your eyes. You have that real smile that you can smile with your eyes.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.